Hey, what's up guys? It's Laura Red back with a Black Desert video after quite a while actually. I decided not to post anything until the new region was released, Land of the Morning Light, and as we can see here, Nico finally taking off his helmet after, well, he's no longer a foreigner in a strange land. He lives here, or he was from here. That might not be law accurate, but don't tell anyone. Anyway, Land of the Morning Light is the newest expansion in BDO. It is basically the rework of Port Rat. It's what Port Rat used to be. It's literally far away from everything else. As you can see, it's extremely vast. So it's basically far from, well, everything. It's still far from Vale, by the way. It's not the quickest route still. Anyway, but yeah, it's still quite far from the mainland. Thank God they put fast traveling before putting this landmass in. So, Land of the Morning Light was out on June 14th, and I'm going to be telling you the truth. I've had so much fun with it that I have to kick myself not to spend all my time there, because it's draining my silver. You'll see why in a moment. So, without further ado, let's explore this land. The most prominent feature of this area are black shrines. What are these black shrines? Now, in the other regions up to Mountain of Eternal Winter, there have been grind zones. You know, you just grab your buffs, you pop down your tent, pop everything, and then go ham for an hour or two, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Jokes aside, but that's what you do in the other regions. In Morning Light, this is not the case. You don't have any typical monster grind regions. You have black shrines. What these compose of, they compose of bosses of each part of the region. In the main quest, each main quest segment tells the boss's backstory basically, or how they came to be in that form. You then sorry, I got distracted for a second. You then basically you buff up in town, then you go to the spot of each boss, as you can see on the map. Because the region is so vast, the bosses are actually quite spread out, as you can see. Some are in closer proximity to each other than others, and then you just have some that are just like way out there. So yes, these shrines, you have 5 attempts per week. It kind of sucks in my opinion, because I may be addicted to it. But yeah, you have 5 attempts per week. The rewards, they reset on Sunday 12 AM UTC. So make sure to mark down the date if you're interested in doing those. As for gearing here, this is not something you can monk gear and punch basically. Only 10% of your gear counts for damage here. The remaining 90% comes from these auras and light orbs that you will get during the main quest. The main quest gives you 3 orbs by default. Is it 3 orbs? Yeah, 3 orbs by default. 2 of the other orbs you have to clear out difficulty 3 and difficulty 5 of a black shrine boss. Then you have the remaining, so that gives you 5 altogether. You also have to pop your consumables before you start the boss fight, and you can't use horse gear buffs. So as you can see, I have my Crocodile wind buff, and I wondered why the hell is it not showing up. I thought it was a bug. It was not. Some bosses have easier mechanics than others. Some are like literally just stay behind them and don't let them hit you. Others are like guess their position, or guess their next position, or guess the attack. This boss, for example, Songakshi, I found her easy on the earlier stages. However, because of her attack patterns, which match those of Succession Megu, I found her very difficult to chase around in the higher levels, and I got very frustrated at it. It may just be a me thing, it might just be a skill issue, which I definitely think it was, but it was endlessly frustrating, so I gave up on the higher calamity for her. Another thing to note, these bosses are like guild bosses. As you know, guild bosses no longer allow debuffs. These bosses also don't allow debuffs. So whenever you're using your add-ons, you may want to consider making a set just for these boss rushes. I don't include a set here because I just use my normal add-ons, but maybe you want to refer to your class discords if you're interested in that. You also have to note that your healing pots do not work here either. You rely on these healing orbs. If anybody saw Arena of Solaire, before there were these healing orbs, ouch, yikes. Yeah, there were these healing orbs. This is how you heal here. So you have to be strategic. So it really is, guess their moves and don't get hit, and look out for the green orbs. Some bosses again are harder than others, and to be perfectly honest, I really do not like Song Gaksha on higher levels. She's very annoying. Once you've used up your 5 attempts, you are however free to go back and reattempt any calamity that you've already cleared. The reason being is that you want to attempt to get a better time if possible, because better time equals higher position in the board equals more chance of better rewards. The rankings reset daily, so if you want to, compete against other people silently, you can always keep an eye on that. Also, the rankings are done class based. So for example, like I've cleared all of these on my striker. I cannot clear them on my LAN because I've used up all my attempts. But not only that, if I wanted to do them again, let's say at reset, I would have to do them on my LAN separately. The rankings don't, I don't believe they carry over. I might need to check that. To be perfectly fair, I don't feel confident enough with LAN to use her for such high-end stuff, so she will sit this one out. But yes, that's how the system works. Oh, and also to refer, this is the aura section in the last. That was supposed to be in the last footage, but I didn't realize I didn't do it until much later. So yeah, that's why you want to, if you want to reattempt any difficulty you've done already, that's what you want to do. Personally, I actually really enjoy these boss rushes. I was a fan of the constellations in mobile, and I was quite sad when I gave up mobile because that was one of my favorite things. So to see it here in BDO or something similar, I'm actually very pleased. The only thing that I don't like personally, well, 2 things. First of all, it's just a pet peeve. I don't like when bosses can't get debuffed. I just don't like that. I get it. It's supposed to be like a fair competition between everybody using the same class and whatnot, but I personally don't like it. And the second one, I don't like that we only have 5 attempts per week. I mean, to me, it doesn't ring well to me. There's 7 calamities. At least have 7 per week, something like that. At least that. I would much prefer if it was like 7 per week instead of just 5, because now I'm just sat here waiting to, well, try again. It really sucks. It really does. So yeah, those are my pet peeves with it. But other than that, I actually enjoy the mode. Like I said, I may or may not be addicted to it, and that's the problem, because it doesn't bring in money like silver and grinding does. So yeah. Another iconic feature, I dare say, of Morning Light was the main quest. Granted, it's actually quite long for somebody with like chores and stuff. For me, it took 3 days to complete. That was very tedious. Very rewarding in the end, but it was extremely tedious. It was very long-winded. I'm kind of a little bit paranoid about doing it again until I know that there's a sure way of doing it quicker and whatnot. But other than that, I would legit do the main quest again just to see the little jokes and little jibes that there was there. I feel like they took a lot of memes from the BDO community as a whole and just bunged them into one place. But at the same time, they kind of did it in a uniform fashion. I really like that. I would like if our main character though had a lot more of emotion than just doing all these dumb emotes and stuff like that. It doesn't feel, it just feels really disjointed. I also played the story in Korean because not only did it sound much better and more in line with it, it was actually a little bit smoother on the ears, because the English voice acting, in my personal opinion, it just wasn't there. It was quite jarring. They had their reasons as to why they casted it so, but it was very jarring. I personally didn't like it. So yeah, the main quest had its little quirks, its little jokes. I really enjoyed it. If it wasn't so long again, I would definitely take my LAN there and use do the main quest again. Even though it involves fighting the bosses and stuff like that. But hey, my little LAN has to grow up someday, right? Another thing that's also unique in Land of the Morning Light is the housing. Usually in the other mainland spots you could live right in the towns. However, in Morning Light you don't live in the town. When you click on the houses, you don't have the residence option. It's just either storage, lodging, janduk platforms, those are for making soy sauce by the way, or the furniture workshops. There is no residence feature. That's because there are two houses on the land, which basically are like mansions. The first one is the Niowa house, like a mini mansion. It's just a small kind of hut, basically. I don't know, something where you sit down and drink tea on a cold morning. That's closer to Nampo village, like kind of opposite it. The other one is the Shimyangji, which is above Dalbol village, indicated by the orange symbol, as you can see on my map. This is unlocked at the end of the main quest, like the right end is the reward for finishing the main quest. These are the only two houses in the region, and yeah, it follows the same rules as the other mansion. You can use for any kind of furniture in here. You can also use the furniture that has mana in the beginning. Oh yes, there's the house. Yes, the other house is, well, oh, it's not even close to Nampo. Wow, it literally is opposite, huh? So yeah, they are quite far away from each other. So yeah, anyway, you can use the mansion furniture just like we had with the Serendia mansion. And yeah, basically the rules still apply. I am quite impressed with these two mansions. The smaller house was actually quite nice. I've just set up a few basic things in the smaller house for when I want to do a quick quest or something like that and I needed to swap characters and whatnot. As for the Shimyangji, I'm also very impressed with it because I saw and I have the Serendia mansion. However, I've not renewed the contract for the Serendia mansion. When the Serendia mansion was first released, I was quite disappointed with it. When I saw that it was basically just a big room split into three, I literally had to make my own room dividers just to give the illusion of like two rooms in one. However, with the Shimyanji, I feel they did a much better job with it because it feels kind of regal. If you've ever watched a Joseon era K-drama and you've seen, like, I don't know, the Princess Quarters or something like that, those kind of flat houses. Oh, is that a gym? Hello. When I was filming, they were doing a little hide and seek event, kind of. Yeah, anyway, if you've ever seen one of those kind of Joseon era movies on dramas and whatnot, they have these kind of houses. This house gives me that exact same vibe. I'm quite impressed with it. I am also impressed that they have wandering vendors outside of your house. As you saw in that piece of footage there's the small rabbit. You spend 10 energy and I think she will call 3 vendors. Look, she's coming back right now and it's got a whole animation. Check that out. Check that out. They're actually coming up the steps. That's actually pretty nice. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Very, very nice. So there's 3 vendors. There's the furniture vendor, there's the cooking vendor, and there is the herb vendor. For those of us who like to do alchemy. I don't see why you would do your alchemy here though, or your cooking as well, because at the time of this recording, at the moment there is no Imperial cooking NPCs, and there's basically no reason to do any kind of cooking here, not even for power leveling if you want. So this one has all the goods in it. This one has all the alchemy goods, well, all the alchemy herbs you need, and this one has some basic furnitures. They're a little more expensive than what you would get in the town because, well, they're wandering, so prices are going up, right? So it's a nice feature. My only pet peeve with this again is that it just drains the silver, and it's half of the reason I'm still trying to recover my silver. So yeah. Nico's happy. The house is taking shape finally. It looks really, really nice. It really fits the wooden floors as well. The wallpaper I kind of chose by accident. I just picked something and I thought, what does this look like before I apply it? And it just clicked. So, when I was filming this, it literally was kind of bare bones. It looks a lot better now. Hopefully I've got a little bit of a slideshow at the end of it to show its current progress. But for now, I've taken my favorite furniture set, which is Veil Pirates, because somehow for the vibes I go for personally, I totally go for hosting guests. Anyway, for the vibes I go for, Veil Pirates always seems to fit my fancy. Especially for this one because it's kind of dark red and the scenery is kind of brownish. The kind of curtain thing that you can see behind the bed at the moment, it doesn't function like a curtain. You can't slide it, so I had to remove it, so it's no longer there at the moment, which is a bit of a bummer. I was hoping it would be like a little curtain I could draw back and open the window and blah 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 blah, but alas. So yeah, it's quite a large plane, you could say. It's got like 3 sections again. There's like a veranda, and then there's 2 rooms. I've designated this one as the bedroom, the veranda as well, and then the other one is the kitchen, which is still very sparse. It's got the little dining room table and stuff like that in it, but the kitchen itself doesn't have any kind of cookware. The one fireplace that I thought you could put in the kitchen, it only goes outside. So yeah, a good thing is as well that you can open those windows so you can get some light in it. So all in all, design wise, I would definitely give this mansion 10 out of 10. It actually feels like it's supposed to be designed this way, I dare say. Also, some of the furniture that they gave for the new region is actually really nice. Like they got the little traditional mattresses on the ground, the little cushions, and in a recent update they have now put a sitting emote. At the moment, so far at the time of the voice recording, it's only for men. And yeah, I think they probably saw a comic. Maybe they saw a little comic on the fan art forums. Just maybe. Just maybe. So now we can actually sit down. So at the end, I guess I'll put some screenshots of me actually sitting next to my stuff. So I'm very, very chuffed at that. This little fox box that we got was quite cute as well, actually. So all in all, I'm actually quite pleased with how the housing goes. I'm just not happy that it's far away from everything. Like this one is actually quite far away from the Magnus well. But then again, to be perfectly honest, a lot of things are very far from each other in this region, so I guess that's something we'll just have to get used to. So yeah, the last thing about the morning light I want to mention is the new piece of gear we got with it, the dance gloves. Dance gloves is basically Fallen God gloves. It's the third in the what's it called, Slumbering Origin set, and could I say it's exclusively great? Well, to me it's just another glove. I just enjoy having it. How you get it is you basically need 500 embers from the new place. The embers are gotten by doing the boss rushes and claiming the rewards every week, or you could slave away for 50 years with workers at the node that supposedly drops the embers. Have fun with that. Because you need 500 of them. They helped us out a little bit by allowing us to exchange for 50 embers from the main quest using the little coins from the main quest. So yeah, it's not harder than the other flames were, but it's also not as quick fire. I mean, it's definitely not as quick fire if you don't have money, because you can just trade despair, what are they called? I can't remember now, but crystals of despair, I think, crystallized despair, which you usually grind from Calthea and Elvia. You could just buy up a lot and exchange them all for the embers, and voila, you're done. So it's not harder than the other versions. It's a lot harder if you don't have money, and it's just easy if you do have money. So the usual silver wins all kind of thing. My gloves at the moment are pry because I tried to rage tap them to try. Not happening, so they are now been relegated to hammers and crons only, basically. So that's what also came along with the new region. As for how I feel about the gloves, I personally don't feel any way about them, because to me it's just another piece of gear. Gear is basically what you need to basically survive in this world, so yeah, gear is gear. So what would my overall rating of Morning Light be? at the moment, at this current time, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Why not a full 10 out of 10? Because there are two things that I think are poorly done with it. First of all, it's being allowed to be a starting zone. So, you know, like Mountain of Eternal Winter was also an alternate starting point. That's not as bad as Morning Light. Mountain is still kind of but at least it's on the mainland, and at least it's not gear dependent, if that makes it, or gear independent, if that makes sense. Land of the Morning Light, remember, only counts for 10% of your gear. Now imagine, brand new account, brand new characters, no kind of journals, none of that extra stuff. Imagine their struggles. Also at the moment, they're not able to do their Awakening and Succession quests if they haven't done Morning Light, if they've chosen it as the starting zone. So for somebody who's timepieced the season character and given that character the Morning Light as a start, they are basically screwed. So, and even though it says on the front cover for veteran adventurers, not many people read the small text. So I don't know. I just don't know. I just personally don't think it should be an option for people who haven't done at least Ancient Stone Chamber beginning at least once, so as to give them some groundwork or something like that. Because at least if they did it that way, the person will probably be able to do the Magnus quest and they wouldn't have to depend on the ship or the NPC ferry, which is already not reliable, because if you crash or disconnect or lag, have fun. The second one is that the Magnus prices, I personally think, are extremely ludicrous. It may be across the sea, that makes sense, but if I was to Magnus from, is it Eternal Winter? I think Eternal Winter, it's about 20 mil a go. So it slowly starts to pile up. So the way I cheat it is I go from Belenos, but it's still 32 mil a go. If you go and come from Morning Light, it becomes really, really expensive, and you could just say just grind more and pay your fees then. Yeah, fair enough, but I would rather if the fees were not that high to begin with. But other than that, I would give the rest of the stuff is 10 out of 10. And it's just those two things that I personally think are things that should be rectified. One is going to be rectified, hopefully. Not sure when, but we just know that it will be, hopefully. So yeah, the rest of it is actually very nice. I like the characters, I like the settings, I like the bosses, even if some of them are really annoying. But I like it. I also like the kind of flexibility it gives for roleplay. Like the story I've got for my Striker online is that Striker's gone here in search of his roots. He's found them. His little tiger pet also has her own lore. And yeah, now he just paved the way for Mulan to go and visit him, and she's gone over there too. Lan, I don't know, this might not be lore accurate, but I think Lan is probably from here as well. Well, my Lan is from here, I should say. It's probably not lore accurate, but until that's confirmed otherwise, and even if it is, I'm not too bothered, it's my story. But yeah, that's the kind of story I've conjured up for them, and I like the flexibility that the land kind of gives for that, because the scenery and everything is just on point. I was also impressed with the housing as well. It actually felt like a proper mansion, and the little tiny house, very, very nice. It's very cozy. I think I'll decorate it and see where I go, but for now I need to focus on getting some silver and stuff like that. So all in all, I think it's a very nice expansion. I think it's just awesome. I see a lot of work has gone into it. A lot of work also went into the music team. 10 out of 10 to you guys, definitely. Can I just make a tiny plea? Can I please see the upload of the combat music here? Pretty please. But other than that, it's an awesome region. Yeah, that's all I have to say for it. So enjoy the little slideshow at the end, and I'll see you in another video. Take care till then.